Because I do wonder how much like those 2 stars affected your mood. Because I don't feel like the platforming or anything we had to do to get around TikTok top clock was like it
It's
was jank. It was bad.
See, the problem
I'm tired.
is not that the stars hitting the stars themselves it was bad. It was literally the Rube Goldberg machine of fuck ups that could happen at any point that just built up too much steam that I just couldn't. I just had to get angry at it because it was just unbelievable. It was like literally that Monty Mole thing on Tall Tall Mountain was, oh, you got up here? Fuck you. And Mario just goes, oof, oof, wah! And that was 15 minutes of time wasted just because a Monty Mole got lucky with one pot shot. I would have had the coins on that one.
Yeah,
there were 2 separate times in TikTok Clock where I had the 100 coins, but something in the game just went no and refused to give it to me.
And I feel like getting the actual stars. Like there's a challenge there, but I don't feel like it's jank, sure, and I'm not even gonna begin to argue that point. But I feel like getting the actual coins, it at least felt within the realm of reasonable. Even watching you go through, like, okay, yeah, you fall a little bit, you get back up, but on that attempt, it's not that bad. I feel like it's specifically been the 100 coins, where you just have to spend so much time in the level, and, oh no, you messed up? Well, instead of having to redo the 20 seconds to hop back up, you've got to redo the 15 freaking minutes to go collect all those coins again.
I'm gonna be honest, up until Lethal Lava Land, even Lethal Lava Land, because that was just like, the lava was there, but I could always come back to it. It was mostly just Shifting Sand Land. Dire Docks, it's like Shifting Sand Land, I think was the one that was like, oh, this is gonna suck, but it's like...
Even then, I don't feel like Shifting Sandland was too bad.
It's not too bad, it's just that you have to get as many coins outside as you can, while avoiding the sand that insta-kills you.
Yeah.
And then get inside the pyramid, which isn't that hard, but again, it's just one of those, it's annoying to get to it. It's once you get to, like, Tall Tall Mountain...
There's just too many pitsy. It's just too easy to die.
It's too many mechanics. They want you to walk a tightrope the whole time. Like, I don't think there's a platform bigger than most of the side of the mountains that ain't the mushrooms. And even those are jank with that one death that I literally just walked off because the game decided that instead of Mario just going, he had to do a U-turn and then slowly walk off. And then decided that apparently me trying to press up to get up on the platform counted as pulling down on the stick, and Mario just let go.
My first attempt at getting the 100 coins on that one, I about had a friggin' heart attack on one of those mushrooms. Because I knew, okay, I haven't played this game in like 10 years. So it's going to take me a little bit to get a handle on, like, actually moving Mario around. And one of the first friggin' things I got to do is walk up and hop onto those stupid mushrooms. Make the first jump, fine. Okay, sure. Jump onto the second one, and I jump just a little too far, so I correct and go like, okay, back a little bit, and Mario does a friggin' U-turn around back, and I'm like, oh, what the crap? And then he's got a stupid amount of momentum going this way for no reason, and I'm like, no, correct that way, and he does another U-turn, and it was friggin' him just going... Before he stopped in the middle, but I'm just like, what the crap?
Exactly. That's the horseshit you're dealing with, where the game wants you to do precise platforming in these areas, but it doesn't give you the precise control you need for it. Where it's just like, oh, you need to stop and do this. Guys, I've stopped and done that exact thing, and he's U-turned on me. I don't care what you're trying to prescribe. I don't care what you think you know. He will randomly choose if he just decides that I have momentum or not. I will just randomly turn around, or I will U-turn turn around. And it'll make no sense. I don't care what speedrunner says they have this game 100% down. I'm calling bullshit on you, because you could have something maybe 99% down, and that 1% will still trip you up.
Well, I can understand the exact mechanics that are going on to trigger one thing or another, but the problem is on the fly when you're just trying to make that jump and make the micro corrections to do each jump as you need to do, you don't have the level of fine control over even yourself in order to get Mario to do the exact thing that he needs to do. Like, I understand exactly why he decided to do this U-turn in this one specific situation. However, getting myself to make the exact inputs needed to get him to not make that U-turn in that specific situation, good luck with that. Like, I get it. I can understand exactly what mechanics happen when and what happens when. But controlling that is a completely different beast. It's like wrangling a wild animal that, like, you can control that wild animal if you have enough dominance over it and you turn it in just the right way and pull in just the right way. You can get it to go where you need to go, but you're still wrangling a wild animal. And honestly, if you didn't do that one thing just right, he's gonna chuck you into a pit and gore you with his horn. And I don't feel like it's been a big problem. I don't feel like it's been a big problem in
It
this
hadn't
game.
been a big
Right
problem.
up until the very end, when they expect you to have a very high level of control over the game. And even then, I feel like it only really shows itself in the 100 coin ones. Because, like, I could probably hop into TikTok clock. And, like, you die. Like, most of the stars are right there along the way. Like, whatever, not that big. The Thwomp one at the top is probably the worst, and I feel like that's supposed to be, like, the crescendo, whatever, of the map. So, hardest challenge, I get it. And if all you're doing is going up there to get that one star, okay, yeah, maybe you fall a couple times, maybe even die once or twice, but I don't feel like it's a massive pain in the butt to get up there. But the 100 coins, it wasn't until, I think, not even TikTok clock, it was going back to watching you play through the 100 coins, even levels back, like levels way back, that I'm watching you doing the 100 coins, and I'm like ruining it. Like, oh, this is gonna be horrible. I just, I feel like jank and all, I can appreciate it, even with the jank, even with what it's trying to do. But I, honest to goodness, feel like the 100 coin stars just didn't even need to be in the game.
The worst part is that
Just, like, wipe those, and I feel like that would solve, like, it'd solve a monumental amount of frustration dealing with the jank in the game.
the worst part, honestly, is just the fact that for Tall Mountain and TikTok Clock, it's because they're the vertical hard stages. Like everyone else, I really didn't have trouble. The only trouble I think I had with the 100 coins before this was finding enough coins.
Yeah.
That was it. It was just I had to make sure I went through as much as the level to find as much as I could. But then Tall Mountain and TikTok Clock went like, how about we do that at the same time as we're trying to kill you with either monsters, minions, obstacles, platforming challenges.
Yeah, there's too much trying to kill you that you can't. Like, the 100 coins have always been more about exploration. Finding every little nook and cranny of the level where there may be an extra coin or something going on. But in these levels where they're structured more like a typical platformer level, your challenge is getting to the end. Having to get all the coins along the way requires that, like, perfect run. And when the level is just, it's a very different type of challenge. Instead of exploring and trying to find all the nooks and crannies, instead it's challenging you to, this is a challenging platforming stage, and in order to get the 100 coins, you have to do this challenging platforming stage perfectly. And that's not something, not only is the type of stage new, but that kind of challenge is completely new and above anything the game is the regular completion of the stage, I feel like, is the natural, like the thwomp one at the end of that one. I feel like that is the natural progression of difficulty over the course of the stages up until then. It's challenging, it's harder than anything you've done so far, but there's plenty of room for error as you work your way up to it. I feel like that's a natural progression of difficulty. But then saying you effectively have to do that, but perfect. I feel like that is, it's a spike in difficulty far above anything they've expected you to do up until then.
I mean, granted, I'm happy they give you some leeway because there were still plenty of coins to get.
Yeah, there's like 130 stars or something in that stage, and granted, you can't get all the red coins.
Yeah.
So that knocks it down some, but even without those, there's like 110, 115, I think, coins. So there's a little bit of leeway, but
it's just so much. And it's like, I get it.
I mean, that leeway is...
I did technically do 2 stars at the same time, but it's like, I wanted to do that at the same time. Because I wanted to get rid of the guy, because I wanted to knock out that one, because I was going up all the way. What other time would I go up all the way to get all the coins anyway, other than just to do it on its own separate thing? It's like, how many times would I die separately doing that, too? It's like, there is no... Like,
you might as well just try to get the coins, and then when you're at the top anyway, try and get that star. Like, you might as well. You're gonna be there.
Yeah. There's literally that Kid Icarus video, where he does Crash Bandicoot 4, and he says he has the most fantastic time playing the game, but when it comes to completing it, it is the worst thing ever he's had to do. Because it is literally, you have to do certain challenges all at the same time to complete the game. Like, there's, like, that perfect run thing. You literally have to do a perfect run to get to get some of those relic things. And it's like, why not do, I don't know, the perfect run all at once, and then do, like, specific parts of it, and it's one of those moments of, like, I get it. And you know what the worst part is, frankly, if I did this on my own time, I'd still be mad, but it would be my own time. But we're sitting here recording where maybe I have a half hour to 45 minutes to do something. So it's like, I can maybe do like 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour on this whole thing. But I need to get that shit done so we can get a video for you to put up there. And it's like, it's your boss coming in telling you he needs those reports in an hour, and it's gonna take you 5 hours to do it, so you have to rush as hard as you can.
Yeah, like, you can't approach...
still don't get it done.
Like, you can't approach it at a leisurely pace. And this is a problem that, like, I run into this all the time when I'm recording crap. Where, like, I know what time we eat dinner. And because I know what time we eat dinner, I have to be done by a certain time. So I'm always sitting there going,
I can't come over here all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't live over here or anything. We got crap to do.
Monday and Thursday are basically the only times I can come over here, and Thursday we push it sometimes.
Yeah, and, like, I've got my own other crap to do, other than recording. So, like, if I don't finish recording on Wednesday, that hecks me up. If we don't finish recording on Monday, Thursday is like the backup day. If I then don't finish recording on Wednesday, I'm just screwed. Like, I know going into Wednesday that, like, if I don't finish recording, there's me. When do I record? I don't. So, like, it's frustrating how much recording puts pressure on you. Not just in the sense of I'm recording, I'm putting on commentary, I'm doing all of this. You're under pressure under a time constraint. You're doing this for a show. Each action that you are making in game is going into the final product. And I can do post editing. I can edit things out, I can cut commentary or whatever. There's a lot of things that I can do. But while you're recording, you're effectively tied to a chair going, I'm doing this right now. And every failure is more time that you're tied to that chair. And you know you can't be tied to that chair forever. You have to finish in an amount of time. And that's where you can't play a game leisurely like that. And so a challenge like this may not be so bad if you're doing it leisurely on your own time. Like, oh, whatever, I got a little bit of free time on Friday. I've got the game paused because the Switch is actually pretty cool about just booting up wherever you left off. So it takes 2 seconds. I'll just look over and give it a shot or two. Whatever. Oh, I got to pause in the middle of this to go do something else. I can do that and go do something else.
This was the Grumps playthrough. They did 62 episodes at like 15 minutes most. That's when they used to, how much they used to do. Not that we were tied down back then. They did that. And he didn't even complete the 120 stars. He got up to what he needed to, gave up, and then finish the game. And keep in mind, this is 15-minute intervals per episode, and they probably record for like an hour or two on some games. So it's one of those moments of like, imagine that.
Yeah.
Just like, but half the time, I have to do it. And he has to basically just think like, do I want to complete this game? Because he goes like, I want to complete this game. I'm going to get 120 stars and everything. And he gets near the end where I'm at, to where it's like, he doesn't get as many stars. I don't even think he gets, I think he maybe gets into the hundreds or something. But he kind of gets up to where I'm at, to where I'm like, I want to go beat up Bowser and never see this game again. And that's kind of just one of those moments of like,
and it's
fully understand it right now. I am just at the point where it's like, yeah, Aaron Hansen was right about this whole thing. It's like, it's fun at the start, and then the game comes in and kicks you in the balls.
And it's frustrating because it soils, like,
I was having...
your whole impression of the game. Like you have a blast the whole game.
Even Tall Mountain, I was having fun. Even with the Monty Moles, I knew those suckers would screw me up, but then I tried to get the 100 coin star, and then the irritation settled in. And then I tried to do fucking TikTok clock, which I knew was the bane of my existence, and that was just like ruins everything. And it's just one of those like, some people want to defend this. It's like, oh, I like TikTok clock and everything for this reason and that reason. And you know what? It's a fine level. The aesthetic's cool. I like the fact that it actually has a time mechanic to it. I like the fact that it's like inside a clock and that it's a vertical stage, because, you know, vertical stages can be fun. But there's so many frustrating bits and pieces in there that just ruin the whole thing.
See, and here's the thing. TikTok clock is built for someone like Raukow. He's the kind of person who he lives to challenge himself. That's why he plays games. To challenge himself, to do something unbelievably difficult and die and go back in and do it again. He lives to play games that have complications to their controls. He played a lot of Mario 64. He played it a lot as a kid, but then he also didn't play it for a long time as an adult. But he got back into playing like Mario 64 ROM hacks. And when he started playing those, he was, for lack of a better word, not good at them. Like, he was hesitant, he was scared, he would... There are times I've seen you go in with more courage on things than he did to start out with. Like, well, you started with more courage than he started out with. Just like a thin platform. And you'd, like, line up the camera and you just book across it. When he started out, he'd line up the camera and crawl across it. Because he had more control crawling. And he felt safer doing that. But he's absolutely the kind of person that just ingrains himself in the mechanics of that game and gets a feel for it more and more and more. And by the end, he's doing, just because of how much time he spends and how much he's built for that kind of crap, that he refines his ability to control the character. And even in a game like this, to control Mario and get him to do what he needs him to do. And by the end, he had a shockingly good control over Mario to get him to do exactly what he needed to do, doing things harder than anything in this game. And on top of that, he still died every time he turned around. But he's the kind of person who took that as a challenge and said, well, that means that I was lacking some understanding of the game, and I failed to some degree, and I'm going to go back in and do it again, and he will kill himself getting through and succeeding to that challenge at the end. That ain't me, by a long stretch. But that's the kind of person that's built for. That they're willing to go in there and die and die and die and gain this inhuman understanding of the mechanics of the game. Whereas, like, I friggin' get to the top of that thing and get 98 stars and fall off and die, and I go, okay, I'm done playing this game, I think. I probably, honest to goodness, nowadays, I probably wouldn't even beat Bowser. That happened once, I'd go, I think I'm done for now. I'd shut off the game, and I don't think I'd ever have the will to boot the game back up again.
I mean...
Like, as a kid, I feel like I'd throw myself at it a lot more. Like, I 120 starred this game several times as a kid. But, like, nowadays, I feel like I would have gone right up until Tall, Tall Mountain 100 coin star. Right up until then. That mole hits me off, and I would have said, think I'm done playing for now. And I would have set it aside with the intent of booting it back up and finishing it later. And I never would have.
Yeah, it would have been years later. There's also the fact that it definitely got way more frustrated, and that does not help me.
Yeah, if you get...
It reminds me that one time we did one of the Pocky and Rocky games, and you got so utterly frustrated.
We stopped and watched friggin' Fifth Element in the middle of the level.
Yeah, to stop and watch Fifth Element just for you to cool down.
And then we came back, and, like, I was feeling okay after that. And, like, I understood that this was a thing that was frustrating that I was going into, but I went into it with a clear head, and we had an okay time going through it that time. Like, it's shocking how much your mood can affect you in that regard, and there are a number of times that, like, I've gotten angry enough playing through a game that, like, I have time to record more, but I'm not going to, because I know I can't. Like, I'm too frustrated to go through this right now. And I'm not going to have a good time going through it. That's not going to make for good videos. I'm going to be playing poorly because of it. Like...
I mean, this is already a half hour tacked on to something else, if that.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just a therapy session for us just to get off our chest.
Yeah, I'm still recording because I never had stop, but man, I don't know if I'm going to leave this in or what. Maybe it'll just be a bonus video at the end of the whole series.
Yeah, really. Just sitting here going like, He got really
Episode
frustrated.
episode 0.
Yeah, he got really frustrated at the end. I wonder what happened here. And it's like just episode whatever therapy session. Two jackasses complain about a nearly 30-year-old game and why its jankness is terrible or something, but it's still a fun game. But oh my god, up to a certain
Yeah,
point,
and it's so
just,
frustrating because it leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth because otherwise the game has been really fun, like real neat environments to run around, real neat challenges, and then like you get to the one thing in the end and you go, I hate this game, and then you beat it and you throw it away.
You know, the one thing that makes this worse is I could literally see us doing something similar with like, God, I'd love to do like Link to the Past or Super Metroid, where I'm the one playing it because I've never beaten those games because I never had access to those games, and it's like I'd love to go through them and have fun with them and have fun with you because it's like your game. It's like you played this game when you were a kid. You had fun with this game. You completed these games, and it's like I'd like to have that fun experience with it. But I'd hate to get to the point where at some point in the game it gets frustrating and I get mad at it. And it feels like I'm almost getting mad at you because it's your game, even though I'm not. It's just that
I feel like, and
because then you get upset because it's like, because I'm already mad because the game's made me mad, and then you get upset because it's like, I like this game, but it's making my friend upset, and now I don't like this game, and it's just this moment of like a cavalcade of like one thing screws us up, and it's just the domino effect of like, fuck this bullshit.
well, funny thing is, you remember my
This
April Fool's...
cowabunga piece of dog shit.
Remember my April Fool's Link to the Past video?
Oh,
where
yeah,
it
where
was
you-
one video that I glitch through the wall, go clear to the end, like credits warp to the end, and go, wow, that was a short game, and end it.
Yeah,
I ticked off so many people by doing that.
I remember that. You said you had so many
Like,
people
I had
mad.
people that said they were personally offended, personally insulted, because that's what I did with the game. And I think this was not insulting to you personally. This was a video on the internet that was thrown out into the void of the internet. That's not personal. But I can vaguely understand where they were coming from because I know I take things personally that I should not take personally.
Oh, it's impossible not to do it. You try as much as you can.
And
to,
like I can objectively know this is not personal, but it doesn't stop me from feeling bad.
remember that time earlier in our recording session where I mentioned something along the lines of like, this is where, you know, you have that realization of why did my dad or whoever yell at television when they were watching a sport game?
Yeah.
A sport game. Clubhouse.
Sports ball.
Yeah, sports ball. Foot sports or base volley or whatever.
Get them base downs.
Yeah. Just watching them watch that, and then they get utterly frustrated because a player does something like they fumble or something, or, you know, they get tackled. Something that just sets off the person watching it. And you go like, why do they get so mad about something they have no control of? And then you watch Game Grumps, or you watch, I don't know, the Super Beard Bros, or Rowcow or something, and then they do something stupid, and you go like, you dumb son of a bitch, you need to do this thing, or pay attention and do that, or and you go like, oh, you know what, that makes a lot of sense now, because you put investment in the whole thing. You're invested in this person succeeding, and then they're screwing up, and it feels like you're not getting a return on that investment. You're like, I'm rooting for you, and then they screw up, and I was like, I was rooting for you. Where's my investment on this? My return on this whole investment on me rooting for you?
Yeah, and to the nature of taking things personally, that was what I was leading to. Was I guarantee if something happened, if you were playing like Link to the Past or whatever, and I'm just kind of watching you as you play through it, if you got to the point where you just got like real angry at part of the game and were like, man, this piece of crap game or whatever,
It would be called the Ice Temple.
Probably. I guarantee I would, to a degree, I would take that personally. And I objectively know No, it's not personal. He's not insulting your taste, your. You didn't make this game. Like, I didn't make this game. You're not insulting my creation or anything.
Do you know how glad I am that you actually seem to enjoy some Dragon Quest games, even though you have some follies with them? It's just literally that same thing. It's like in the opposite direction. It's like, I'm glad he enjoyed them because I didn't want him to get mad at these things.
Oh yeah,
Really,
what if we'd gone through Dragon Quest 4 and I friggin' come out the other end going like, man, this piece of crap.
and it's like,
How would you have felt for that?
oh, it's like I would have been like, but I wanted to do like more of these things, but now he's upset.
Yeah, this is
and
something
I
that
don't want to do any more.
Yeah, this is something that I enjoyed, that I wanted to share with him, and he's coming out hating it. But so this is something that I really care about and enjoy, and
But if
I can't share with anybody.
yeah, but if my friend doesn't like it, I can't make him like it.
And
so.
and now I feel bad talking about it like it's good because I enjoyed it, because I know he didn't. That's another thing, because I would feel so bad then talking about but I really like Link to the Past and the way they handled this thing and the way they handled this thing, and it doesn't feel like I could just praise something that I enjoy. It feels like I'm trying to convince you that no, but this is a good thing, and I'm sorry that you don't like that part, and I can't just enjoy something
Yeah.
with you.
It's. I mean, I even tried booting up Super Metroid, and honestly, I think I need to figure out how to remap the buttons because they. I don't know if a human person with actual human hands figured out if this was the right control scheme by default.
Super Metroid's default controls, I don't know who uses them, but literally everybody on the planet rebinds Super Metroid's controls to something different.
Yeah.
Everybody uses different controls. And as soon as you hear somebody say, oh, I use these controls with this and this, everybody looks at it and goes, how the crap? And then they go, I don't know how in the world you do that. I do this. And then somebody else goes, how the crap do you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But yeah, you have to.
Yeah, that would
I can tell you what controls I use that I think works pretty nice. But I'm actually really glad Super Metroid has remappable controls built into the game, because boy, does everybody use different remapped controls.
If it didn't, that would literally be the one starting point of
especially
hey, we're
if
gonna have
default,
Ogre play this game.
Especially if the default controls were that, holy crap.
Yeah. It's this is where we're gonna have Ogre play the game. It's the controls on these suck. You suck! This is my favorite game ever!
It's the friggin' jump button is the top one or something stupid.
Oh my God,
what?
yeah.
I don't know what the crap the default controls are doing.
It's Mega Man X has weird default controls, and it's this is kind of stupid, but yeah, no, it's. I think I've cooled down way enough that it's I'm not mad as I should be, but it's definitely one of those this was way more frustrating than it needed to be, and one thing I am is I'm glad that even though this is a pro controller, I'm glad it still made him Nintendium, because wow, did I fucking chuck this thing on the ground a lot.
Glad you didn't break my headset. You knocked off a piece of foam, though.
This was my headset.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right now it's the only one we got, so
Yeah.
if you break that one, you don't hear your commentary for a while. It's all right, it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks before the next one shows up in the mail.
Could you imagine if this was the more expensive one?
Oh.
I would definitely not have thrown it. I would probably have been more
Yeah, you know how expensive this headset is?
I would definitely probably be more angrily fumbling with it to put it on the ground. But this controller, I'm glad, was just it. That segment when I got mad at the controller was literally because it bounced on the floor onto my shoulders, and it hit all the buttons as it was tumbling back behind me. And then it hit the floor behind me. That's why it was so why is Mario just moving all of a sudden? It's because
I saw him
literally
moving,
just
I saw him
dumped.
moving on his own for a second, and I was I was in a panic moment
if Mario had
of
fallen off the edge.
if he walks to the edge and falls off, oh no. When you're not even controller in hand.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was just literally I threw the controller, it bounced and landed on my shoulder and went until I finally just pissed off, shoulder checked it to the floor.
Oh, on the nature, in the vein of Link to the Past and Super Metroid, and what I was saying about Mario 64 about like kind of ending the game with a foul taste in your mouth, even though like the entire game's been fun right up until that end. Um, Link to the Past is not afraid to kill you. This is something I've discovered in my randomizer runs. Is I am far happier, especially when I was doing the crossover randomizer, is on the plus side, death in Link to the Past is kind of a slap on the wrist.
In Super Metroid, it's not.
It's not. But I was also much happier to go to Super Metroid because I was much less likely to die. Like, I could just run around Super Metroid without worry.
See,
but running around Link to the Past, I am in a lot of danger at all times.
See, the thing is that now you say that, that's basically what it felt like this whole time. It's like, death in a Mario game is a slap on the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
But if you if you keep getting slapped in the wrist, you get mad at the person who's slapping you on the wrist. It's like, oh, you died. Okay, that wasn't that bad. You died again. Okay, that wasn't that bad. 10 times later, you're like, stop fucking slapping me on the wrist.
Well, and again, I again cite the 100 coin stars of normally a death is a slap on the wrist. 98 coins into 100 coin star, that's not a slap on the wrist anymore.
It's a bowling swing to the testicles there is what it is.
But like...
With the bowling ball in hand.
But like, with Link to the Past, if you die in Link to the Past, it auto-saves everything you've collected, all the items, keys, anything that you've gotten, and if you die in a dungeon, you can start at the dungeon's entrance.
At least it doesn't do that terrible thing where you have to get, like, no deaths to get the true ending to the game.
Yeah, so, like, you die deep into a dungeon, it just puts you at the entrance to the dungeon and gives you... You still have literally everything you had when you died, which usually means you can just walk right back to the end of the dungeon again.
What?
Like, again, it's slap on the wrist, absolutely.
I think it's the one thing they learned from Link's Adventure is the fact that death was kind of a terrible thing in Link's Adventure. Like, even in the original Zelda game, the Zelda game was like, it sucks, but you can recover. Link's Adventure was like, oh... Especially if you got a game over. Game over was like, you might as well just restart. There ain't no... You just wasted that time on there. But it's like, I think they learned that in that instance of, like, make it a slap on the wrist. Like, the worst you get is, like, you're at, what, 3 hearts?
Yeah, something like that.
It's something like, even if
Which
you had...
was real rough in my one randomizer run when I started halfway through Turtle Rock with 3 hearts and had to beat the boss without getting hit.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those, like,
I had the green tunic, by the way, so
I figured that. There was no way you had, like... He had to have, like, no defense on that whole thing. But no, it's basically that whole thing where it's like, they learn to make it a slap on the wrist. But it doesn't make it less frustrating in a lot of ways. Like, yes, I can deal with the game killing me.
Oh, I had to kill him with the hammer, too. I didn't have a sword. Piece of crap seed. Oh, my goodness.
But yeah, it's like, I get it. It's a slap on the wrist. But eventually I get mad at the slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Because it's a little too much.
Oh, Super Metroid. I think the issue as well is Link to the Past, death is a slap on the wrist because it effectively auto-saves on death. It puts you somewhere convenient and you keep everything you had when you die. In Super Metroid, you go back to your last save.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad because there are save points everywhere. So typically, yeah, you're just back to your save point, but usually that's not that far back. The problem is when I play Super Metroid because I don't save. Because I don't imagine I'm going to die at any time. It's just not something I take into consideration. And then I die, and I get sent back 2/3 of the game.
That's the reason why, Yuji Naka, is it Yuji? Yeah. Yuji Horii, put those save points only in town for Dragon Quest is because he liked the gamble of the idea of, like, if you don't save while you're in town, if you die, that's on you.
He was a gambler.
T is a gambler. It's why there's
It is a gambler.
That's why there's horse racing in 11. There's no reason to have horse racing in 11.
That's why there's gambling, a gambling house in like every Dragon Quest.
I don't know how Dragon Quest games don't get a T rating in some regions, because they literally got pissed at Pokemon because it had the game, like the gaming corner.
There's a casino in every game.
A blatant casino.
It says casino. It has bunny girls walking
bunny
around.
girls and everything. Gamblers everywhere. Drunk people who are mad that they keep losing. Drunk people who are happy they're winning. It's just one of those, like, how is this not rated T? Is it rated T over? Because I don't know if in Europe.
There's like alcohol and crap in those games. They've got to be T.
Yeah, it's T. T for totally awesome. But no, the gambling, because the gaming quarters. This is. I don't care what you do. You're cutting this off and putting this like unlisted at the end of the playlist, and it's just be like therapy session. Part 1 of 10. And everyone goes like,
we're gonna need more for Rainbow Ride.
You know what? Looking at it, we're over the worst. I think Rainbow Ride, I at least can kind of understand. It's like, this level is out to kill me.
It is.
There is
I have no idea how the coins go, but I feel like the coins in Rainbow Ride are going to be a nightmare.
Honestly, I look forward to the coins more, because I think there's a lot more platforming sections than people realize. Because there's literally that, like, one area after you get up the carpet, you can just turn around and like do a whole other section and everything and collect a lot of coins. But yeah, it's like, no, this is gonna be like therapy part 1 of.
Oh, and on the nature of, so like, I would very much. Well, I feel like one of the big things between Link to the Past and Super Metroid is, with Mario 64, this is a very execution-based game. Like, you have to play at a certain skill level, or you just die a lot and get angry. The nice thing about Link to the Past and Super Metroid is they're mostly knowledge-based. Link to the Past will kill you if you don't play right sometimes, but usually, again, the punishment is a slap on the wrist. But yeah, but they're mostly knowledge-based, and that's where I feel like if you played through them, and I was just here to, like, tell you what's up, I feel like, or, like, point you in the right way if you're starting to get lost or not sure where to go or whatever, I feel like that would improve that experience phenomenally.
I think the thing is that I can tell you it's mostly knowledge-based, because I've seen plenty of people play through the game and they never walk into that inn in Kakariko Village, because there's no point to walk into it. There's like a back entrance where you get something.
Yeah.
But nobody ever walks in and talks to the drunk guy who's the father of the kid in the forest who plays the
because
flute.
You don't need that information. It's a hint, but it's not required.
Yeah, he's there. He's a character. Nobody realizes that that's the father of the flute kid in the forest, because everybody already either knows it, or they've seen somebody who knows that this is where you go for that whole thing.
Yeah, like, if you're playing the game fresh, then yeah, you go in there. Because there's even a part where, like, you get the flute, and then you go talk to him, and he asks you to play the flute for him, and then you play it right there in the inn for him. Like, playing the game fresh, heck yeah, you go in there and you talk to him. Once you've played the game a couple times and know what's up, never again. But, like, there's that, and... Oh, on the nature of investment, like getting so far in and then losing and having to start back over and getting sent back 15 minutes, and being left with a poor taste in your mouth. Super Metroid. I say this because a couple years ago, for Seasons Metroid, I had Barry play through Super Metroid.
Yeah, no, I remember this.
And I just kind of...
That was the thing that made me kind of realize, it's like, we need to do something for, like, Link to the Past, where I'm the one playing it, and you're over here in the corner going, like, and just, like, digging your nails into your leg.
Yeah, it was nice how it worked out, though, because I could kind of point her to the little things here and there. We did always have the out of, she can give me the controller if need be to get through something. And she has self-admittedly said that she's bad at video games, especially execution-heavy ones. But she still got through the vast majority of that game. I pointed her in the right direction here and there, but she got through the vast majority of that game. The big thing that I had to do for her was, A, I had to beat Ridley for her. Because, yeah, that's kind of an execution-heavy fight. And
I mean, I don't think you shoot your lasers at all at Ridley. I think it's just all missiles until you either run out or game over.
if you have all beams, your charge beam is actually one of the most powerful things you can use. It's, I think DPS-wise, super missile is better. So, like, you waste your super missiles on him, but, like, do not underestimate the damage of charge ice wave plasma. It is far. I still to this day underestimate how powerful it is. It does way more damage than you think it does.
Like Mega Man 6, that Flame Man weapon. It's like, oh, this weapon sucks. And I look it up and go, like, this is the best weapon in the game because of this, that. And it's like, still sucks. But anyway, she played it. You did.
But
Ridley.
it was specifically the Planet Escape. She beat Mother Brain. She did it, but she had trouble navigating the passages and hopping through the platforms and making her way out. There was one or two sections where the game kind of got you. It kind of tricked you. It, like, give you a fork in the road, and if you go the wrong way, you gotta backtrack and go the other way.
So you burn time.
Yeah, and as long as you're quick about it, and you're, like, going, like, nope, go back the other way, it's not that bad. But she was struggling to keep up time the whole way, and I'm watching that timer tick down, and there came a point where I just pause, and I took the controller. Because I knew... Like, I gave her as much time as I thought, but I gave her right up until I feel like I couldn't make it out with less time than this.
Yeah.
So it just, pause. I'm going to get you out the rest of the way. And, like, I feel bad for taking that from her, but also... she was going to get sent back to the save point before Mother Brain.
Yeah.
She was going to go in and have to destroy the Zebatites, fight Mother Brain again, get the whole ending again, before making her way out again. And that would have destroyed her. I don't know if she even would have cared to. If that just would have happened, then she just would have said,
here's the controller, have fun.
like, I'm done, and leave the room. So, like, on the one hand, I feel bad for taking that from her, but on the other hand... I gave her more than she probably would have gotten on her own.
Fun thing, since you mentioned that Planet Escape, Gerard Cleo, the completionist, the guy who, like, has done, like, randomizers of Link to the Past and Super Metroid for funsies because he knows them so well.
Yeah.
I guess apparently he didn't know you could shine spark up that one thing at the end of Planet Escape. Yeah, because he did it by accident at the end, and he goes like, I didn't know you could do this. And I'm like, the completionist didn't know you could do this?
Have you ever watched a single speedrun of the game?
I think it's just one of those things where you, like, get something so ingrained in your head when you're younger that you kind of completely, like the Paper Mario playthrough where I was like, I just put on the enemy HP thing. It's like, yeah, it takes up 4 badge slots, but I don't have to tattle with Goombario.
I mean, like, admittedly, I don't know if I knew that you could do that until I saw a speedrunner do that. But
it's just one of those things of like, what? But you know these games in and out so much that you could do a Link to the Past Super Metroid randomizer with crowd control. Crowd control that was bloodthirsty on Super Metroid. Link to the Past, they didn't care to kill him that whole thing. It was Super Metroid where the guns were ablazing.
Oh, I remember doing a...
He had to turn off the morph ball thing on that one because that option, I don't know how that's not like...
That's just boring, is what it is.
I don't know how that's not like $100 automatically. Like,
well, you set everything to be whatever you want it to be.
I know you set them, but it's definitely one of those, like, morph ball by default should be like, it's $100 and it can't go lower. Like, I don't care. I don't care if you want to go like, oh, I want to make this 50 cents. It's like, no, it's $100. They
like,
want to screw you over.
Morph ball, that's just boring to take away. Because you need morph ball to get literally anywhere. So, like, well, we took Morph Ball away. Okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna stand in front of this hole for 2 minutes. Good job.
I think it's one of those things where I look at and I go like, I don't know why for randomizers they don't take the morph ball out of the seed. Like, I feel like the morph ball should just be where it's at by default because you need it for so
Well,
much.
you can choose. You can have Morph Ball guaranteed in that location. That's an option in the randomizer. Or you can have it randomized amongst everything else. And if it's not there, it has to be early game because so much is locked behind Morph Ball. But there's a shocking amount you can do if you give someone like Screw Attack at the start instead. Like you can get halfway through Brinstar.
Wow.
Like you can't go that far, but you'd be surprised at what you can do.
Yeah,
But still, like when you're going to make progress, like, okay, gonna hobble along over here. Oh, it took Morph Ball away. Okay, well, I was gonna keep going, but now I guess I'm gonna stand in front of this hole for 2 minutes.
And now I'm literally that how do I make Metroid crawl thing.
Yeah. Like I remember doing
Which ironically she can do now in Dread. Though not crawl, but she can slide.
Like I remember doing a crowd control. I don't know if it was the combo randomizer or specifically Link to the Past randomizer. But I remember a time when I was even like laughing. They'd like kill me and stuff. I was just laughing it up, like whatever. But I knew between what they'd taken away from me and what items I'd gotten for me, I was in the Dark World. I had like no health, no weapons, no nothing. But I was in the Dark World and I had to go into Palace of Darkness. Is it Palace of Darkness? Dark Palace? Whatever
Palace
that
of Darkness.
Eastern. It's the Dark Eastern Palace.
Yeah.
I had to go in there.
The monkey one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Had to go in there. That was my only option. I had the money for it. So I'm going through the maze. Literally everything here can kill me. Working my way up. And I think I got like to the spot right before the entrance. And I knew this was going to be a dance to work my way around and get up there. And I'm just sitting there planning out like, okay, so gotta do this. Gotta get down here. Gotta work down here. Like, just making this intricate plan of how I'm going to get inside and I'm going to handle this and what I'm going to have to do once I get inside to try to find a single item that may be what I need to make. Just making this elaborate plan. And I start walking off. And as soon as I start walking off, they killed me. And I was laughing off every other death, but that one completely deflated me. Just because, like, I had worked so hard to get that far, and I knew the challenge ahead of me, and I'd planned and worked myself up for this challenge ahead of me, and, like, I'd hype myself up for it, like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do this fight. It's gonna be a hard fight, but let's do this. And then just... And, like, that happens in, like... Man, I've been laughing off the deaths, but, like, I don't even want to play this game anymore now.
We'll go home now. Oh, wait, I am home. Kind of deflates that whole thing now.
Anyway, to everybody at home, we actually BS or back and forth like this quite often, maybe with a little less therapy. But sometimes
it definitely quelled the hell out of me right now. Let's
sometimes,
go Rainbow Ride.
Sometimes this is why we only record like 2 videos, is we just sit down and do this and then go, oh crap, we gotta record.
Also, the other reason sometimes we want to record 2 videos is because we go like, hey, RPGs are our favorite genre. Why don't we do RPGs a lot? Oh, it's because they're heavily story-based and it, like, takes an hour to do 1 episode? Ugh.
Yeah, and we've honestly just been BSing around. I don't know if I think the plan is to keep it in, but I sure didn't... For the first half hour of this, that sure wasn't my plan, but here we are. So, who knows what's even gonna happen.
Oh, this is definitely a end of...
Episode 0, right there. Anyway, until next time, everybody.